Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm a behavioral scientist. I'm also a professor of leadership at Holt International Business School. That means that I write and I teach courses in leadership and other business skills for adults around the world. In our unit today, we'll be focused on how to manage your emotions. Perhaps you feel that you have no control over your emotions. In fact, you might even think that your emotions control you. However, research studies have shown that humans actually do have the capacity to manage what they feel and how they respond to that feeling. People who learn the skills to manage their emotions have better well-being, more happy experiences, and also fewer negative and sad experiences. In fact, the positive effects can even happen for trainers who teach emotional regulation skills. Emotional regulation means being able to influence which emotions you have, when you have them, and importantly, how you respond to them. How can you do emotional regulation? The first step is to give a name to the emotion that you are feeling. For example, right now. Are you feeling high energy or low energy? Are you feeling pleasant or unpleasant? This chart is called a mood meter. It can help to give you a name for the emotion that you're feeling. On this chart, you can see a parameter along the bottom, which is pleasantness, and that goes from low to high. Along the side is energy, and that also goes from low to high. When you work out where you are on each of those two lines, you'll also be able to identify whether you are in the red, the blue, the yellow, or the green quadrant. Once you're inside that quadrant, you can probably find a name for the emotion that you're experiencing. Step 2 is to pause and breathe. Why are you feeling this way? What we know is that pausing before you react will help you respond more effectively. Step 3 is to picture in your mind the person whom you want to be. How would that person respond? And then finally, step 4 is to choose how do you want to behave. You can learn to control your emotional reactions if you can follow these 4 steps. So let's recap that. First, name your emotion. Second, pause and think. Why do you feel like this? Thirdly, imagine the person that you want your friends and family to see. How would that person respond? And finally, choose how you are going to respond to the situation. Let's do an exercise to practice these skills. In this exercise, you are going to practice the 4 stages of emotional regulation. This next section is for trainers only. The objective of this exercise is to help learners recognize and practice the 4 stages of emotional regulation. To prepare for this exercise, you can print the mood meter, which is on the next slide, and give it to each learner, or you can replicate it on a whiteboard and run the exercise as a total group discussion. After you give the participants the mood meter, lead them through the discussion questions on the last slide. Note that there are no right or wrong answers in this exercise. Participants need to get involved in a discussion that helps each person realize he or she can choose how to respond rather than simply reacting. Here is the mood meter that you can use for the exercise. And here are the facilitated discussion questions. Be careful to take them one at a time, give enough time for each person to respond, and aim to engage every participant in the group. Question 1. Picture a recent time when you felt angry, sad, upset, or disappointed. Find a name for that emotion on the mood meter. When you feel like this, how can you make sure that you pause for a moment? The next discussion question is, describe the person you want others to see. What are the qualities of the person whom you want to be for your family and friends? And the final question is, how would that person that you just described choose to respond to this situation? Another option to extend this exercise is to use this chart in order to ask all participants to indicate on a scale of 1 to 5 to what extent they believe that they can now practice each of the 4 steps of emotional regulation. If you'd like to read more about this subject, here's the bibliography.